Hello friends, in this session today we shall be understanding about SQL Server Management Studio SSMS tool and its operations, its working operations. The basic example. Come on, let's understand friends. In the previous part, in the previous lecture, the demo session, we understood the lab plan, lab configuration. Hope you installed SQL Server, at least one server mandatory, second server optional, but good if you can have two servers to practice remote joins, linked servers as a part of our course curriculum, but at least one server mandatory, 3 mandatory. Hope you have done your installations from sqlschool.com downloads link, sqlschool.com/download link. And now let's understand how to establish connection from tool to this server 3 to 1. And then we shall be understanding about how to operate on this box number 1, that is about database and tables. So we shall be understanding slowly one by one about all this information on how to get the server connection and about database, and inside database about unlimited tables. Yes, server contains database and database contains tables, right? Isn't it friends? Server, then database, and database has tables. Let's understand now how to work with this information step by step. Well friends, come on, let's do it carefully now. So for this purpose, I'll just make sure I modify my diagram a bit. I'll just make sure I'll modify my diagram a bit. Kindly wait for 10 seconds max. Not required, 5 seconds. We are almost done on my screen friends. So server, database, tables. A server can have up to 32,767 databases inside, and each database can have unlimited number of tables to store the actual data. Well, let's understand now how to establish connection from the tool SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio tool, to that particular server, SQL Server. So here it is, friends, a friendly and simple example now. Let's go with the connections first. And why we need to connect? Why we need to perform this activity? Yes, to operate on the server, like creating databases, tables, etc. Yes, let's see. Before we get into these connections and operations, SQL Basics, introduction part. SQL, structured query language, a platform used to communicate with any database. Well, before we start the connections and operations, let's get the basics first. SQL, structured query language, a platform used to communicate with any database for development, testing, and administration, management activities. Transact SQL, TSQL, a type of SQL exclusively used for communicating with databases stored in Microsoft SQL Server, MS SQL Server. So SQL to communicate with any database. TSQL to communicate exclusively with SQL Server databases specifically. Yes, it's something like this. We have OS and Windows. What's the difference? Windows is a type of OS, right? Same way, TSQL is a type of SQL, similarly. For example, mobile, Samsung or iPhone. It's a brand that we are talking about. TSQL is a brand of SQL. And we are going to start with the basics, generic information on SQL first. Well, here we go. With this information now, there are three different types of SQL statements or commands. DDL, data definition language. DML, data manipulation language. And select for data retrieval. DDL, data definition language. Here it is. DDL, data definition language, it deals with structure or container, this one. And DML deals with the data or the actual content. See there, friends? Structure or container, DDL. Content or the actual data, DML. Please by heart these new technical terms. Just like this, friends, glass water concept. The glass container is manufactured, modified or broken. Drop. After you manufacture the glass, then we insert some water into it. You add some sugar or you empty the glass. Empty. Remove all the content. Yes, create is used to define or to construct new tables. Simply say to define new tables. And alter, to modify structure, to modify the structure of existing tables. To modify the structure of existing tables. To construct or to define new tables we have create. To modify structure of existing tables, it is alter. Same way, to remove existing tables, we use drop. So drop is opposite of create, right? Define the table, remove the table, to drop. Whereas DML, like content, like water in a glass, insert, to insert or to store new data into tables. To store new data into tables, we have insert. And to modify or change data in existing tables. In existing tables, we use update. Just like adding some sugar to existing water. And remove. To remove existing data from the table, just emptying the glass, just making it upside down. So delete is opposite of insert. In our next classes, we'll talk about truncate and other activities one by one. For now, basic level, let's get this DDL and DML. Finally, select. To report data from table, plus additionally we can also create tables as well as insert data. I mean, using select in our course we shall be taking examples on using select. In our course we shall be taking examples on creating the tables, inserting the data also. I mean, select can be used mainly to perform reporting, data access and data verification, and we can also use select to perform additionally above green and below blue information. We'll take them with examples slowly in our course, one by one, practically. So keeping in mind our next classes, we got the specific lab plan, right? We got the specific lab plan with something like this. Your mobile with 2 SIM slots, 2 SIM card slots and 1 keypad, something like that. 2 servers, 1 tool. And now we are taking 3 to 1, 3 tool to 1 server. So to understand the arrow mark, we are taking the SQL basics now. What is table? Table is a container. Table is a container, just like a sheet in Excel inside MS Office. MS Office software, here SQL is our software. Their Excel files, here databases. Each Excel file has one or more sheets. Here each database has one or more tables. Simple. Tables are the actual containers to store the data. Now let's understand how to establish connection to the server, create database and create table, insert data step by step. Come on, let's do it carefully now, one by one. So here it is, you got the basics, and during installation of SQL Server, a set of 5 system databases are auto-created. Yes friends, for example, you are installing a Windows OS. Assume, for example, install Windows OS. After you install Windows OS, then a set of directories are auto-created, right? And you can also create your own new directories, right? Isn't it, friends? You can also create your own new directories. Same way, for example, while installing SQL Server, similar to set of system folders auto-created, here a set of system databases are auto-created. 5 system databases. Master, model, MSDB, TempDB, resource. Master. Used to manage user connections. Yeah, that is what we are going to practice in next 3 to 4 minutes from now. Basic practice, yes, we are supposed to provide connection. We are supposed to get connection to the SQL Server. This connection is managed by master database. Please by heart these new technical terms. And model, used as a template for new databases we create on this server. A template for new databases. MSDB, used by SQL database administrators for jobs, alerts, monitoring, errors and repairs. TempDB, used by developers for temporary data storage and data access. And resource database hidden, internal, used by master to control the SQL Server setup files. Yes, we'll take them with examples slowly. Let's understand now how to establish connection to the server. Remember, during installation of SQL Server, a set of 5 system databases are auto-created. One head of SQL Server master, internally controlled by heart resource. Then comes model, MSDB, TempDB. Don't worry about these technical terms. We'll take them with examples slowly. For now, please kindly by heart these technical terms. master, model, MSDB, TempDB, and resource. Detailed material would be provided anyway to get more knowledge theoretically on these things before we get into the practicals. And next, two important technical terms quite often used in interviews as well as job purpose: collation. Server property used to control language settings. In our next 1 minute, we are going to start the practice. At that time, we may need to type some or fill some forms to create database, create table, etc. or write some commands. Now, are these case sensitive or insensitive is decided by a property called collation. Remember friends, a property called collation, a server property used to control language settings like English, Chinese, etc. So is your SQL commands case sensitive or insensitive? Database names, table names, inside table something called columns. Are they case sensitive, like uppercase versus smaller case, or upper scale versus lower scale? Is it capital letters, small letters I'm talking about? Are they different or same is decided by collation property. Because in our next classes we need to understand about how to store usernames, how to store passwords. Passwords should be case sensitive. Usernames may be case insensitive in some cases. At that time we need this collation property for those examples. File stream lined up in our course. Server property used for big data storage and media information. I kindly request you to go through the day-wise course curriculum for whichever course plan you are looking for, and you would see all these terms in appropriate plans and the chapter numbers. Well, so you got SQL Basics with DDL, structure, DML, data, content, a select, reporting. During installation of SQL Server 5 system databases, auto created, collation and file stream. Now let's see basic practice examples. Firstly, connections from tool to the server that we have been waiting for. Let's see. Windows apps. Okay. So here it is friends. Go to Windows. Go to Windows, this one. I'll go to Windows. So here it is. Click on this particular window button. Friends, I'll take the screenshots from here. Please follow the notes carefully. Search SSMS. Hope you install the required servers. Then we are good to start our basic practice. Click this one friends. Click on SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. You might have installed one or two tools, just one should be fine. So get that yellow box. So you get one yellow form in this way. Friends, we are talking about box number 3, yellow box, SSMS, to connect to this server. Okay, so here it is. You get the tool in this way. Friends, once again, friends, let me repeat it for you. Go to Windows app, search and type there SSMS. Okay, type SSMS. So here it is. Go to Windows, search, type there SSMS, click launch SSMS, prompt for server name, this prompts for server name, and in the drop down, observe carefully friends, it will prompt you for server name. So here it is friends. Initially you will see in this way. I'm taking the screenshots, and the session notes include all these screenshots anyway. So a server name, SSMS, sorry, server name. Then we need to provide these prompts for server name in drop down, browse for more, drop down. Hope you remember during installation we selected and installed database engine. Now drop down. So browse for more. Once you click on browse for more, expand database engine. See that, friends? Here it is. Browse for more. Then expand database engine. Once you expand database engine, these are all the servers I installed in my computer. Okay, and in your case, if you install SQL Server 2 times, you will see 2 entries. 3 times, 3 entries. 1 time, 1 entry. Whatever you have on top for now, or any entry, whatever you installed recently, select OK. So friends, in my case it is SQL School. In your case it may be different. Select and simply click connect. Well, we are connected to the server. Okay, once we connect to this server, once we establish connection to the server, then the next step. Yes, our next step would be about our actual lab plan today. We entered into the server main gate. Now let's get into the database, create database, create table, and insert few rows and report them. Yes, once you establish connection to the server, then the next step. Yes friends, so here we go. Our requirement now. Back to my notes. You connect. Now right click databases folder, new database. Here it is, friends. Right click databases folder, new database. Before that, you would see some system databases like master, model, MSDB, temp. And you remember, resource database is hidden. You don't see that. Remaining 4 are available for our next classes. For now, you may not see these databases. It may be empty for you. Initially, friends, we are going to slowly understand how to get this type of databases in our course. For now, right click, new database. Right click, new database. Okay, this gives a form and we need to specify some database name. Say for example, some product database. Title case, mixed case, or it can be everything uppercase. Product database, any name with space, with symbols, anything. Remember, whenever we create a database like this in the user interface or in any format, automatically 2 files will be created. First file called data file to store the actual data. Okay, log file to store audit information. I repeat once again, friends. Data file to store the actual data and log file to store audit information. So we have a data file, log file. With this information, purpose, back to my screen, friends. So right click databases folder, new database, give a name, any name. For now I said product database. Okay. Automatically a set of 2 files are auto created, and here it is, friends. Data file, log file. Data file, also called rows data file, used to store actual table data. File type is MDF, which means primary data file. M, primary data file, sometimes called metadata file. For now, just by heart these technical terms: data file, rows data file, MDF. This one, friends, the first one. And second, log file. Log file is also called transaction log file, T-log file, used for monitoring the database, like who is performing creation, who is performing alters, drop, insert, update, delete, select. All these operations will be carefully audited by log file. Like a camera in my room. The room is my storage area to store all my belongings, like data file. The camera in my room is the actual log file, for easy understanding. Okay, so here it is, friends. Once you click, say, create database, give database name, click OK. Once you click OK, two files are auto created, and here it is, default installation location. We can also change the path. We have separate the chapter exclusively for path, size, adding files, etc. one by one. For now, simply click OK. So database would be created here. Let me just make sure I don't have any conflicting name. It says database already exists. So let me just remove or clean some information for us. Yes, friends, let me clean some information to make my room clean. Yes, friends, for easy understanding, I'm simply deleting the things. Let's wait for a few moments. Yes, friends, let me just make sure. I'll just remove all the information. Let me just clean my server. Let me clean my server. Well, I just cleaned it, friends. I would have done it before the class, but thanks for excusing me. Yes, friends, just now I cleaned up my server. I just right click each database and say delete, just like deleting a folder in our OS. Now, initially system databases, right? For master model, MSDB, TempDB. And now let's understand, friends, how to create new database. Right click new database. Give some database name. Just give some database name. Don't worry about other things right now, friends. Click OK. What happens? Two files will be auto created, a room and a camera. The file, data file to store the table data. Tables we are going to create in next 2 to 3 minutes. And log, like a camera, like audit who is creating, when it is being created, what is being created, etc. Click OK. Default in the installation location, C program files, your database files will be auto created. Okay, now your database is created, and then next step, expand database, right click new table. There are different kinds of table, different types of tables in our SQL server. Again, I request you kindly to go through our course curriculum to understand the chapter numbers that has these required information about all these types based on our course and the plan. Mostly we use 90% we use basic tables in general. However, our course curriculum includes other tables, all tables over here. Right click new table. Click on new table. We get a form. We get a form like this. Let's observe carefully, friends. Well, let's observe it carefully here. We'll get a small form in this way. Let's do it now carefully, friends. Here it is. Here it is. I repeat again, friends. Just refresh it with a different server, but same process anyway. So you got that server, database. Right click new table. You get one form. Let's wait, friends. Yes, we need to get a form like this. And here we need to type in the column names just like Excel. Okay, for now I'll say product ID, enter, product name, enter, and size, enter, and price. Give some columns like this. Okay, once you type in your required column names, we can have up to 1024 columns like this in a table. Now right click and say save. Okay, right click the top yellow ribbon. Ribbon means the top highlighted value, highlighted rectangle bar. Save. Just click on save table 1 and I'll call it as TBL products. Provide the required table name and click OK. Here we go. Provide the required table name. Next. I repeat again, friends. How I got the screen? Right click new table. It will automatically give a form. You type the columns and right click save. Friends, here we get something called data type. We are going to discuss from the very next class, and null values also from the very next class. For now, click save. Once you save, our later next class will talk about DBO. For now, table is ready. I repeat, later next class we will talk about DBO. There is something called schema. Well, let's not deviate our attention with getting everything into details now itself. It may again deviate our learning process, because DBO is something called as schema. Separate chapter, we require a separate understanding for that DBO. For now, remember, it comes as it is by default. There is something called data type of data. Null means undefined. We'll take them next, very next class. For now, yes, you fill the form with column names and done, close. Yes, friends, on my screen, friends, how to create new table? From above created database, expand tables, right? Expand tables, right click new table. Specify the column names, ID, name, and price. Let me just bring this up. Let me just bring it up for easy understanding of our classes. Yes, friends. Now let's continue. Let's continue with our next step. Yes, so here it is. How to save above table? Yes, just now we did, friends. Right click top yellow ribbon or the actual box, yellow box, and right click save. Right, this one, friends. Right click new table and on top right click save. Once it is done, next step. How to verify above created table? Expand server, expand database, tables, and we see above created table. Expand server, database, and expand tables. You'll see above created table. We can create unlimited tables in a database. For our example, we are taking one table. How to insert data into above table? Okay, right click created table, above created table, edit top 200 rows and enter the value in each column. Here it is, right click, edit top 200 rows, this one, edit top 200 rows, and here give the values. For example, product ID 101, product name caps, small size, and price, something like this, just like Excel. We see red colored notifications just come out, they are no more, out of the current row. For example, caps, medium size. Same way 103 and caps large size. Same way for example 104 chains small size and something like this. Here this way you can keep inserting values manually, or you can also perform copy paste. Right click copy and right click paste. Just like Excel, we can perform these operations. In later next chapter, while discussing this concept of schemas, DBO, at that time we'll talk about how to import data from Excel to SQL Server. Later next chapter. For now, let's insert some small amount of data manually. Remember, every row is auto-saved, just like a Google Drive or a OneDrive sheet. Here also, in this particular table data sheet, data is auto-saved. Okay, next. Well, we got the server installation, then database creation today. Right click new database. Then table, right click and edit to insert data, auto saved. Now select to report the data in a table format in this way. Right click, select top 1000 rows, this one. Now friends, what is select here? Yep, this is the one. Select is a statement, if you remember, in the yellow bar, yellow ribbon, used to report data from the table, right? Select. Yes, we insert data and select. Yes, we create a table, insert data and select today. Very next class, we are going to understand all these activities. We are going to repeat them with a different example, all this table data. For now, we create a database, create table, save the table, and verify the table, insert data and select. Problem with this user interface, we can edit only 200 rows at a time. We can insert or work with only 200 rows at a time. We can report only 1000 rows at a time. Now what if? Yes, in real world, 99% to almost 100%, we generally need to work with millions and trillions of data. What we do? We cannot stick to this user interface. We require something more powerful called SQL, Structured Query Language. Right? Let's continue, friends. Let's understand now what is SQL. Yes, structured query language, a platform used to communicate with any database. That is its talent. Any database can be communicated using this SQL. Developers use it, testers use it, DBAs, administrators will be using it some way or the other. Let's get the very basics now. Right click server, new query. Okay, this one, friends. Right click server, new query. Observe carefully. Right click server, new query. Then we automatically see one new query window like this. We see one white screen session window. Right below SQL commands, highlight and execute. Here we go, friends. I'll copy for today, just copy paste. We are going to write them slowly one by one next classes, right from next class. For now, right click copy. Here we see a green color text, hyphen. This hyphen means comment, description, and select, execute. Friends, we are understanding the very basic part to start with. So execute button is used to send this SQL command to the server. Yellow box to green box. Yellow box is sending this command to the server. Server executes. Database is created. That's why you see here command completed successfully. But how do you verify? How do you verify that your database is created on this server, inside this server? Yes, expand databases, and here you don't see this database. Refresh, click on refresh and expand database again, or right click databases, refresh. Once you refresh databases, now you see that retail database got created. Remember, server can have multiple databases, right? Server can have multiple databases just like this. Earlier one database, now another database. Up to 32,767 databases possible per server. Server is also called instance. Now let's come back. You got the first query, create database. Next, from your notes, you'll copy paste query to also carefully. You may type it, but very beginning class now, let's be extra careful. Let's understand the basic part first. We have good amount of typing in our course, no worries. Query 2. How to connect to above database? Use database, this one. This means you are entering into the database, retail database, and on top retail database. 3 places we can verify which database we are connected to. See there friends, I'll spotlight here retail database, this one. Retail database and on top retail database. Once you get this connection to the database, what next? Table, right? Remember friends, inside the database we need to get the table, server database table. So copy this complete query 3. Copy the complete query 3. Reason for me repeating it multiple times, we generally see few participants mailing us with an error screenshot after they execute only first line. No, let's understand that we are supposed to create entire table. So get the complete set of lines, whatever it is. I think about 8 lines. You copy all these 8 lines. Of course, copying that hyphen comment is optional, only for our understanding purpose. And here product ID, name, price, size, these are columns like Excel fields. So create table name. Firstly create database, then create use database, then create table. ID integer to store digits. Name character to store up to 40 characters. Price int to store digits. Size cap to store up to 10 characters. Well, what is 40? Up to 40 characters. Limit 10. Up to 10 characters limit. Characters mean, remember, it can be digits, it can be symbols, it can be alphabets. Symbols like dollar or underscore or hyphen, comma, etc. Okay, same way here also we have digits. Characters means digits, symbols, alphabets. For integer we should not specify any size, no number. We should not. If I provide anything, I get error message. And 40, 10, these are the size limits for characters. Characters mean digits, symbols, alphabets. In our next class, we shall be taking more examples. Let me show you just to get some idea. We shall be taking more examples on something called varchar, changing the column name, changing the type of column, increasing the length of columns, etc. Later one by one. For now, just let's get started with the basic trial. Integer, character, select all, execute. See there friends, select this particular create table statement, execute. So create database, connect database, create table. Next, after we get this create table statement, from here I'll copy this query 456. I'll copy this query 456, enter them here. Let's understand them friends. How to store above data, select, execute. Friends, right now at the basic level we are understanding insert. What is insert? Yes, if you remember, insert is a DML, to store new data. Earlier we created table, now we are inserting data, right? Insert table, here also insert table. But difference, one insert one row, one insert two rows. An insert statement can insert any number of rows, remember, either one or two or more. Into keyword is optional, and semicolon is optional. Here, what are these for? They are values. First value goes to first column, observe carefully. First value goes to first column, second value goes to second column, third value goes to third column, price, and size, fourth value goes to fourth column, this one, size, this one friends. So first, second and fourth and third, you provide four values that auto distributed to four columns. See there friends. So 1001 will be ID, caps, name, 10 price, and yes size. Next, with this information, I'll take a screenshot here. With this information, yes, we inserted some table data. Now, you may get a small question like, what are these red quotation marks? Yes, these mean characters. These red quotation marks are required to store symbols and alphabets. For digits, those single quotes are not required. But for symbols and alphabets, those are required. And blue terms are reserved words. We call them keywords. In our next classes, those are called reserved words, keywords, the blue terms. And the terms inside these quotations are red, means either symbols or alphabets. Now, created table, inserted data, finally execute, select from table name. Here star means to report all data from the table. Report all columns, actually all columns from the table. Remember, there are four columns, right? ID, name, price, size. Four columns, right? So to report those four columns, we say star. For now, we can also report only particular columns, and we'll go step by step. For now, you'll practice until here 5 queries: create database, connect database, create table, insert data and select. You can also get this a bigger picture by clicking on view and full screen. For now, let's go with the default options. Friends, how I got the query window, friends? Right click, new query, right? Remember, right click, new query, and I started to work on the queries one by one, right from creation of database, connection of database, creation of table, insertion of data, and select. Final part of our today's agenda. Here, you may ask me like, yes, you inserted say 3 rows or 300 rows, what will be the order of reporting? Yes, in whatever order we insert, same order data will be reported. That is called table scan. Remember friends, table scan means it is a property of SQL server, a property of SQL server using which we ensure or using which the data being inserted is stored. Whatever data we are inserting, the data being inserted is stored in the same order and reported in the same order. Simply say means insertion order is equal to internal storage order. Friends, where it is stored? Inside database. Where inside database? Yes, inside data file. Getting it, friends? Inside data file of the database, actual data is stored in whatever order we insert. It is same as retrieval means reporting order. This is called table scan. Yes, for multi-line comments we can make use of like this. Star hash means multi-line comment. Single, say hyphen means single line comment, and this is multi-line comment. And with this we'll stop for now. And one small additional information, in case if you wanted to get more for your interviews, right click live query statistics. What I did, friends, right click live query statistics and then execute. What happens? We see that so-called table scan. This one, friends, this one. What I did, friends, right click live query statistics, then right click execute. The details were available in our notes anyway. You'll go through them carefully. Create database, connect database, create table, basic table, insertion, single row, multi-row insertion, reporting, and table scan. Order of insertion equal to, storage equal to, retrieval. To verify table scan, right click query, include live query statistics. Again right click query, execute. Right, this one, friends. Observe carefully. I mean right click query, include live query statistics. Again then execute the query. Once I execute, I'll be able to find the table scan. Yes, you may ask me why we are learning table scan now. Keeping in mind, friends, our next upcoming classes on query tuning, remote joins, linked servers, indexes, etc. Let's get them carefully step by step. You'll practice all these, and yes, you'll use me for your doubts. At the bottom of this particular video link, you will see all these session notes. Please kindly download, practice, and use me for your notes of me. Use me for your doubts and clarifications. In the next chapter, we shall be taking once again, we shall revise all these concepts right from creation of database and slowly understand all DDL and DML operations. Okay, stop for now. Please practice on time. Thank you.